don't feel like boys need their dads to become a man. I feel like, because my children's dad is in their life, just not like I am. I believe that boys need good male role models. Have to be their dad, because if their dad is a toxic figure, that's not what they need to have as an example. So you put them around figures that will show them what to become. And sometimes it's not their biological. But I do feel like other healthy masculine, figures to learn, because I can't teach him how to be a man, but I can teach him how to respect women.
Word.
Children don't need men in homes just for the sake of saying that they have a two-parent household. So many children resent their mothers for bringing men into their child-free homes to avoid the stigma of being a single parent and raising children in a single parent household. So many women or moms allow society to judge them, and they internalize that judgment of raising their children in homes by themselves, so much so that they are willing to put themselves and their children's lives and safety at risk, all just to say that there's a man in that home. Children don't need male presence. They need stability, they need safety, they need peace in their homes. Having a man-free home brings predictability, calmness, and emotional safety into the lives of those children in that home. So having a man-free home is peaceful and is a sanctuary for a lot of children. My grandma was mean to every man in her life. Like, when I think back, I was really close with my grandma before she passed, and I used to spend so much time with her, and I used to just watch her interactions, like with people, and watch her interactions with men. My grandma was by far one of the kindest women you would ever meet, but she was so mean to men. Like, she did not play, and everybody knew she didn't play. I'm talking about even down to the men in the neighborhood. They would speak to her. I mean, these men would worship the ground my grandma walked on. Do you hear me? Even her sons, they knew, and she had 5 boys and 1 girl. And they knew my grandma didn't play. They walked a tight line when they was dealing with her. And her husband, like her last husband, that man was barely even allowed in her room. Like, he couldn't come in there and sit on her bed. They had separate towels, sheets. Like, she didn't play. And now that I think back, she had the cheat code. Like, she really did.
I'm so tired of y'all saying a child needs a dad. No, a child does not need a dad. A child needs a healthy dad, a sober dad, a consistent dad, a dad that's going to love them unconditionally, a dad that's actually going to freaking show up. If you can't do any of them, you need to get out of their lives. You are just traumatizing them even further with your inconsistency. So no, a child does not just need a dad. A child needs a dad that is all of the above and more. And if you can't do that, just leave them alone.
Y'all men are trifling as fuck. Because one thing for certain, 2 things for sure, women are not the aggressors, and most of us don't come on to y'all. Y'all come on to us. Now, let me tell you one thing that I'm always born and bred by. Mama's baby, papa's maybe. That's why I don't give a fuck about y'all. If I fuck with you, your uncle, your cousin, I know it's my baby. I don't give a fuck if it's yours. You see what I'm saying? Each woman is different, and every woman ain't the same. Cause I push mine out, and guess what? I ain't need no daddy. But when I raised him by myself, I glazed him by myself, and now he's self-sufficient. The daddy won't.
What in the Magic Johnson son is she talking about? This is exactly why we got sassy ass niggas around this mother. These sassy men that y'all claim that y'all hate is exactly why. Because they don't got daddy. And they got mamas that feel that they don't need daddy. That's why your son get beat up in grade school. That's why he came home with a black eye and they took his Jordan. Because you don't need you feel that he don't need a daddy. That's why your son switch when he walk. Not meaning you, I'm talking about people that think like you. Your son a pussy. He get bullied. Why? Because he ain't have no daddy to teach him how to fight. Nigga don't get no playing time in the game. He ride the bitch from 9th grade to senior year. Because he ain't have a daddy to teach him how to shoot a jump shot. And then when he get married, he end up crashing out because he can't get control of his emotions. Because he ain't have a man to teach his ass that a man should have control of his emotions. See, it's women that think that kids shouldn't have fathers is the reason why we got a sassy nigga apocalypse in this bitch today.
The Father's Day behavior series, and if you haven't watched that, check it out. I realize that many of the mothers are very, very bitter. And what I mean by that is many of them are saying, my kids don't need him. But what I think you're really saying is that you don't need him. And it's okay if you don't need him, but understand that just because you're done with him or just because you have a new man does not mean that it is okay for you to make the decision that your children no longer need him. And if you're going to make that decision, that's fine, because you are the parent, you are the mother, and most likely likely you're the custodial parent. But let me say this to you. Own it. When that child grows up and that child wants to know, why was my father not in my life? And you know you had something to do with that, own it. Don't shy away from it and say it was his fault. No, own it. Own it and say, I didn't feel like he needed to be there because he didn't do this, that, and the third. Because a lot of men are paying for the fact that they did you wrong, but maybe they are not doing their children wrong. And so all I'm saying is, that's your feelings. Put your feelings aside and ask yourself, hey, is he a good dad? Can we co-parent? Can we move forward together? If the answer is no, because of him and what he's doing to the child, that's one thing. But if the answer is no, because of what he did to you, no, that's out of pocket and it's out of order.
We got a lot of women saying that, oh, you know, I don't want a man in the house. Some of the worst times of my life is when I live with a man. And I put some clips in there, obviously. You got women saying, yeah, the men my mama had around, they always cause problems. And having a man in the house is so detrimental. And the men my mama had beat her and did this to her. And you hear all these bad stories. You know, and what's so crazy about it is you don't hear the women that grew up with fathers and grew up with good men in the house even speak up against this. But it's all feminism, bro. I'm gonna do a reaction video to Paul Pierce and the side piece, and she was talking about black men made black. I'm gonna get to the deaths on that one. Made black women feminine. That's not true. Black men didn't make them feminine, bro. And people talking about the government. It wasn't even the government, to keep it a being. It happened way before welfare came into place. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame the government. They give you a chance. Stick by your man and build with them or take a handout. It ain't even a handout where you get a Rolls Royce in a mansion. You get a fucking, you know, project apartment with 20 people living in some government cheese. Just think about it for a minute. If y'all gonna say it's the government, which it wasn't, they chose a hole in the wall and to barely get by over building with you. Come on, man. Like, come on, use your brain. I always want to give women, it wasn't the government. They never wanted to be, most of them never wanted to be with you, but I'm going to say that video for the deaths, right? But yeah, they, you know, oh, men in the house is terrible yeah, you know why they like to complain about men being in the house? You know why women don't like to stick by their baby father, the guy who they had a baby with, no matter how great or how shitty of a person that he was? It's a simple fact. Women don't like abiding by rules. Women hate the word control. Women hate the word curfew. Women hate structure. Women hate discipline. They can't stand it. They can't stand it. Most women don't have discipline. And they be wondering why, you know, in the job market that people, you know, women are less likely to be hired because it's, you know, my back hurt or I'm coughing a little bit and they don't want to come to work. They don't have the discipline, the accountability, the due diligence. They always late. You know, being able to count on them is it's a crapshoot. You don't know if they coming in or not coming in. Erratic, no consistency, the moods up and down. We can go on and on and on about the topic, right? So, I mean, but it is what it is. But when you look at the situation about it, when a man is in a house, that's a lot of shit that ain't going by. The little teenage daughter can't have her boyfriend coming in and out. She got to be in by a certain time. Or if not, the door is locked. It ain't, you know, you go into the refrigerator and do what you want to do or have the lights on while you sleep. Women are very wasteful. That's what you got to understand, because you hear the slew of women saying this because, you know, you hear a slew of women saying, but they're wasteful. They want to have the heat up at 80 and 90 degrees and then cry when the bill is $500. They don't understand, you know, for every action, there's a reaction. For every move, you know, there is a consequence to it. They don't see that. They just, you know, see that and then, oh, I can sell some pussy and I can pay this light bill. That's how they walk or borrow some money. They don't see it. And they come to dude's house that, you know, that heat might stay on 65, 70. That man gonna say, turn on the electric blanket, turn on the space heater, put some clothes on. When a woman-led house, everything is wasteful. They got a whole bunch of, you know, food that they didn't made or they didn't bought, and they don't eat leftovers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when you talking about these new age women, they don't cook, they don't clean. The house be nasty. Funky laundry everywhere. nieces and nephews and daughters, they don't know how to clean. They don't do nothing. They lazy. Let's keep it a bean. The reason they like living without men, they get to do whatever they want to do. But then when they have to deal with the consequences, they look for a lollipop to suck to you. They need a man to bail them out. They need to bust that thing open on OnlyFans. They go down to daddy government to ask for a fucking handout. They crying for the baby father to send some money after you put them on child support when you could have got the help. They begging people to help. They looking for programs to bail them out. Because of the bad decisions that you made. They so used to getting bailed out for that bad decisions. When you with a man, he see the foresight of all of that. That fucking Seek Lincoln, hey, let's go get that part and get that shit put on right now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's not, we getting 6 inches of snow. Hey, let me go out there and shovel that snow at 3 inches. So when I have to go back and shovel it again, it's just not as much work. Women let shit pile up, get a ticket from the city, somebody slip and crack their neck on your property, and they looking stupid. Mail ain't been delivered because they don't want to get out there and do them and shovel the snow. We can go on and on. They hate the discipline. Once you understand that when you dealing with women, you want to see if they can follow directions and they discipline and they have some accountability and they not lazy. That's what it is. That's why when a man is in the house, all that cease to stop. All that cease to stop. There's a structure. Wash them dishes. Don't leave that TV on. You ain't watching that TV. Turn that TV off. Keep that heat at 70. You ain't going to be running in and out of here. Your little boyfriend not going to be going into your room. Y'all ain't going to be eating in your room. I haven't seen them go outside, leave the door open, and then be surprised when it's a rat in the house. Close the door. They don't like the discipline that a man bring. And then when you got boys in the house, now they grow up spontaneous, wild, feminine like the women. Don't know how to budget nothing. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Don't understand the due diligence of paying the bills and being ahead and paying ahead and saving money. That's just what it is. They don't get it. Excuse me. They don't get it. They live in Monday to Tuesday and Tuesday to Wednesday. A man living on Monday, he thinking about Monday, next Monday, a month later, a Monday, the year to date later. That's why they don't like having men in the house. If you didn't guess it or you can think about it, they don't love structure. But you ask women about control, and they all freak out about being controlled. I seen a podcast with Ugly Money Niche was talking about why can't a man tell you to be quiet? And they was, you can ask about what's the matter. Shut the fuck up. I know somebody to tell this bitch shut the fuck up, and she shut the fuck up and respect it. So a man saying, be careful or be quiet. How hard? Why is that so bad? Be quiet. They don't want to be under no rules, no and that's why you shouldn't bail them out. Let these motherfuckers, regardless of they put their kids in that position, regardless, don't bail them out. They hate rules, they hate structure, but they even at the job. Complain about what they got to wear, complain about this, complain about that, not being on time. They hate structure and discipline. This is why you see women that, find ways to break up with dudes. You be like, damn, I got my shit together. They don't want a mirror to their face. You putting them to shame. They see how lazy they are. They are, and they got to pick it up. They know you gonna make them pick it up. You ain't gonna be lazy. You ain't gonna lay around here and not do nothing. They hate the discipline, man. And a man bring discipline. You remove a man from a disciplined house, you'll see that house crumble. Shit foreclosed on, lights go off. Little daughters and shit had bitches running in. Son had niggas and bitches running. It falls completely off. It's like being at Fort Knox and taking away all the security, all the guard dogs, all the our military, police, military, and then anybody can walk in and take all the gold. That's what it's like removing a man from a household. The man to get up, had the girls,
cooking and cleaning, take the boys outside to cut the yard, cut the weeds, fix on the cars, do all that stuff you gotta do, and then y'all can go do whatever y'all want with y'all day. With women, the motherfuckers don't wake up 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, house nasty, yard fucked up, don't nobody gotta do nothing. That's what it is. Trying to tell y'all, hit the link in the description, join the Patreon. Peace.
Women who say their son don't need a father in their life. The only way I agree with that is that man is a no good man at all, as in like is a jeopardy to his son, is a danger to his son. He abuses his son. That's the only way. If it's simply some, oh, it didn't work out with my baby daddy, you know what I'm saying, we're a little toxic, you know what I mean, you should not be keeping that man away from his kid. Also, if he keeps physically abusing you, you know what I mean, even every time you try to let him have a relationship with his son, you know what I mean, and he comes around every single time he sees his son and does something to you, I can definitely agree that he probably shouldn't be around at all. Some people might disagree with me with that. But if there's a woman out there who's like, you know what, I gotta separate my relationship that I had with my baby daddy versus with my kid, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not the same relationship. Even though he might treat his son with the utmost respect and is actually a great father to his son. But if every time he comes around his son and is being a good father, but he's treating the mom like crazy, me personally, growing up, as I get older and find that out, I would have never wanted my dad around me if every time he comes around me being a great dad, he keeps constantly beating up on my mom. That's just me speaking. You can speak for yourself. That's me. Now, if it ain't none of that crazy toxic ish that I just said, a lot of kids, specifically sons, need fathers in their life. Vice versa. If you just have a toxic relationship with your baby mama, you know what I'm saying, but she's a great mom, why would you not want your daughter around her mom? If she is a great mom, if you have custody as a father and she's a great mom to your daughter, and also, let me throw it in there, not spreading things about men or, you know what I'm saying, whatever, you know how toxic women can be, or raising her to be a thought, then everything should be fine. If I was a single parent with a daughter, it might be certain things that, I might be uncomfortable with, even though it's your duty as a father, so, you know, whatever. Or things that I probably wouldn't have a lot of knowledge on, as in like periods and stuff like that, even though I could do research, but a mom would understand that way better than a man would. Overall, we need to all stop having kids with people. Not me, because I don't got none. Y'all do. Y'all need to stop having kids with people, and it don't work out. Now, for a lot of humans, that might be harder to do. Easier said than done, but hey, you gotta do something. Y'all gotta do something out there, because y'all just popping out kids and not staying with y'all people.